Hey everyone, my name is Marjolein Schout and I'm a permaculture consultant. And today I want to shoot you a little bit of a small video about biodiversity and gardening frogs. Funny story, I will give some backstory first and then I'll dive in why this is an important topic. So funny story, I live in a small suburban area. I have a pretty small backyard. And next to me, there is a neighbor with kind of the same measurements in his garden. And our gardens are completely different, So my neighbor has a big pond running all the way to the back. It's quite big. And he has a lot of wildlife in his pond. So there are frogs and there are other kinds of amphibian creatures. It's super nice. There's a lot of plants growing in there. But the rest of his garden is quite empty. So there's tiles in there. It's like a typical Dutch garden, I would say. So it's tiles, no weeds. It's very well maintained. And I mean something different than what other people think I do. So it's very well maintained. So it's very well kept. All the sticks and leaves are out of his garden. And it's very tidy, and he always cleans it up, and he's very, he loves his garden very much. And in his way, in his manner. But because I studied a whole lot on gardening and biodiversity and botany and permaculture, of course, but also garden history, I might know different things than my neighbor does. So I have a different garden. So how does my garden look like? I'm going to paint you a little picture because I think it's absolutely stunning how my garden looks like. There's a lot of flowers growing in there. There's a lot of diverse plants. I let grow out many of the weeds, but they are maintained in a way and in an order that I know is necessary. So I let grow out of the weeds that I need in my garden to attract bees and butterflies, other kinds of wildlife that I need in my garden to maintain the ecosystem or small ecosystem that I have in my garden. I, of course, have a lot of vegetables and fruits. I have shrubs in my garden. What else? There's a whole lot of level variety in my garden, so it goes up and down. There's a little bit of sloping going on. I don't have any terrace area. I have a small terrace area in the front to put my bench on because I want it to be stable. And I have a small terrace area in the back because that's the best view in my small garden. And it's near the fruit shrubs, and it's near my loganberry, which is a bramble. And I really love that place to sit down and enjoy my garden. There are chickens in my garden. They roam free from time to time. I have a big compost pile in the back. That's where I throw all my garden leftovers so they can decay over time. I don't do any fast composting because I don't really have the space in my garden. So those two gardens, you might say that they're very different. In my education, I would say that my garden is way better to maintain ecosystems, to maintain the balance, to attract all kinds of animals. So I have a lot of different kinds of critters, bees, butterflies. Sometimes there's a hedgehog visiting my garden. There's a lot of birds, and the balance of my garden is maintained by the animals that are attracted by the plants that I grow specifically. And what kind of plants are these? So these plants are native to my region. So they might be different than your region or anywhere that you live in the world, but they're native to my area. And how do I know this? Well, I look it up, of course. I followed some courses on native planting, but of course, there are also the plants that come up naturally. They are so well adapted to the area that they are specific for my region. So there are a lot of brassicas that are growing in my garden. So mustard family, and maybe some cabbages, some things that I cannot really identify, but I know it's a cabbage variety. So they're growing like naturally because they love this region. And now I want to talk to you about stuff that is happening in my garden, because I think observation is one of the key things to planning the right garden, maintaining your garden, and improving on your garden. So if you do observation skills, you will learn a whole lot about your area, what's wrong in your garden, what needs improvement, any kind of things. So these gardens side by side, my neighbor has a pond, there are frogs in it. So every morning I walk in the back of my garden, there's a huge row of shrubs, and so there are berries and raspberries and all kinds of yummy edibles. And I walk there in the morning to pick berries and to eat them like on the spot, because I really enjoy doing that in the morning with my kids. And this path is overgrown with all kinds of cabbage varieties native to the area, a lot of clovers, different kinds of wild plants. What else is growing there? Some chickenweed, all kinds of things. Really nice area. And every morning when I walk down this path, I trample it down a little bit. So you can imagine that this path is really moist, because they're full of plants that are moist in themselves. A lot of snails go there, and I don't like snails at all, but they're good for the ecosystem, so I just let them be. And I actually grow some different salads for them, so that they can eat a little bit more and I can harvest a little bit more, and it's less frustrating in that way. So one time when I walked this path, I noticed something jumping in my garden, and it was on this path. And then every morning I started to do an observation of this little pathway in my garden between the shrubs, and I noticed this frog coming from my neighbor's pond into my garden, from the strawberry bushes down to this little nice lush path. And now a pumpkin is growing there, and it has a lot of hiding places because it's there's a lot of shrubs, of course. There's a lot of brassicas that the frog can hide underneath when a bird is coming, and he can really walk his path through the compost heap. And what's in the compost heap? Well, there's a lot of snails in the compost heap, but there's also a lot of bugs and other insects and critters and ants and flies and mosquitoes. So imagine this little frog seeing my garden and sensing, my line has a whole buffet growing for me. And that's why he makes the effort of going from my neighbor's pond to my compost heap through my garden every morning. And he leaves there, because I've been observing, he leaves there by the end of the day, goes back to his pond and chills there for the night. How freaking cute is this? So what does this tell us? And that's why I think observation is so important. What does this tell us? The frog likes my garden better than the neighboring garden. The frog prefers my garden. And why is that, you think? Well, that's really interesting. The frog likes my garden because it's adapted to his needs. I have so many variety of plants. We also call this biodiversity. So biodiversity is when there's a lot of different things growing from within variety from the same species. So let's say this brassicas that I'm growing, or cabbages. I have a whole lot of different varieties growing in my garden, but that counts for all kinds of things that I have growing in my garden. So it's not a monoculture of, let's say, tomatoes. Not only tomatoes, it's so many different things. And because it's so biodiverse, animals naturally prefer these environments. So I get a lot of critters, I get bees and butterflies and birds, of course, because I have everything for them to eat and to lay their eggs in, or their nests. I have a bird's nest in my on my fencing, actually. And that all happens naturally because it happens naturally, but I planned it that way. And that's the difference. So this tells us that when we have a non-upkept garden, I wanted to say, but I teach my clients to do this. So I leave sticks laying on the floor and leaves because it's better for our soil. So and it's also better for our variety. So if we untidy our garden a little bit and plant a little bit of diversity that's native to your area, very important, we attract animals naturally that want to come in our garden. And what do these animals do? They maintain the balance of our nice garden. So frogs eat snails. We don't want any snails in our garden. Frogs eat critters and other kinds of insects that we don't really want in our garden anyway. So my frog maintains the balance for me, and my chickens do the same, and the worms do the same, and the snails do the same. So birds, of course, as well. And the cool thing is that all my clients, except when they have a balcony, but then they report all the birds, all my clients report the same results. They report an increase of hedgehogs in their garden, increase of birds and bees and butterflies, and what else that was missing? Little critters, frogs, anything in their garden. And it's an increase. And why is that happening? Well, my clients sometimes think I'm crazy when I say this to them. Expect that this will happen. When you work with me, expect an increase of biodiversity. And they think it's a little bit of magic. And that's fine. It's a little bit of magic, of course. It's my magic touch. But it's also knowing your area, knowing what to do, planning it that way. And this tells us that gardening is not only for your own benefits or your own desires, which is perfectly fine if that's your starting point. You want to grow food, you want to do that for your family and maybe for your neighborhood. That's wonderful. I mean, I'm big on like generational legacy, and that's why I do gardening, and that's why I do garden design, to pass this knowledge on from person to person. But it's also leaving this world a better place than you came up on it. So you just leave a little bit of patch of heaven for all these natural animals. And it's not only for your own desire, but it's for animals and nature and the weather and your neighbors and water runoff and all these kind of things. So to sum up, if you have more variety in your garden that is native to your area and it's more biodiverse, and you have all these elements in place, there will be a huge increase on plants and animals that are now getting this distinct. And that's really important, of course. We want to maintain this balance of this earth because then we can live on it. And it's no better way than doing something like this. So this was my little video. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.